Good morning, guys. How are you today?
Mr. Schaffer, he's really honest. He's done a lot of great things for the school. He's had a lot of experience in the world, like politics and the Board of Education, and he's just a good role model, someone you can admire and someone you can trust.
He believes that children build positive communities, and positive communities build a positive world. That's powerful. That right there is powerful.
Every parent's goal needs to be just like mine and Maureen's, and that is to do everything we can to make sure that our kids get the best education possible. And that meant starting our own school. We found others in the community that had a similar viewpoint and got involved in helping organize them to the point where we started an alternative school. Then we started a charter school, and it's become the best in Colorado.
When he first came here, I think we were all a little scared of him. He was kind of intimidating. I think sometimes he enjoys scaring students. But I think we've all gotten to know him now, and he's just amazing. He's so willing to help any of us with any problems we have. Whenever I'm stressed out about anything, he's the first person I go to.
I came to him last year and I told him that I wanted to intern in Washington, D.C. for our congressman, and he said, well, go for it, do it. So I guess that's one of the big impacts that he and Liberty have had on me, is that if I want to do something, I can achieve it.
Good morning. Good morning. Hey, nice job on those SATs.
Bob has been one of the biggest leaders of education reform in Colorado. And what people have to realize about him is that's probably his greatest passion. When I ask him about test scores at his school where he's at, or about kids, his face does light up. I mean, he wants every child to succeed. He wants every child to have the perfect school to fit their academic needs. And he empowers parents like me to become more involved in that cause. And there's no greater cause than educating our next generation of children.
Something people may not know about Bob Schaffer is he's a huge supporter of the arts. And it's been wonderful working with him. He really stands true to the philosophy of our school too. Liberty wouldn't be here without him.
I just think Bob is one of the most articulate people that I know, and one of the best listeners that I know. I just always am trying to channel Bob to be like that and to aspire to be that innovative and creative, I guess, with his thoughts.
He's really funny. He's got a good attitude, and I don't know, he's strict when he needs to be, but he's really fun, and he makes good jokes, and I don't know, my friends like him. He's cool, and I don't mind him being my principal at all.
I met Bob Schaffer in the Colorado Senate when he was still an aide. And he was one of the youngest men working around the Senate at that time. I think he was just 25, as an aide to Senator Jim Beatty. Jim had to resign in the middle of his term, and the next week we came back in session, and Bob was one of us. He was a full-fledged senator, one of the youngest in Colorado history, and a star from the very beginning.
I find Bob to be incredibly strong in his beliefs and unwavering at times in his beliefs, which makes him an incredible leader that's consistent and one that you could count on. You know what Bob stands for, and he stands for kids.
Bob has a huge heart, and I'm not sure how he finds time to do everything he does, because I know Bob is a great father and a great husband. He's got a big family, but he always has time to do what you ask him to do. And there's been many times where we've asked Bob to drive from Fort Collins to Denver to be at our functions. I know he's busy, I know he's overcommitted, and Bob is the kind of guy that with a great smile and energy always says, I'd be happy to help out.
The most important legacy he will have with regard to education is through the voice and through the persons of all of the students that he is influencing so directly and so effectively and so positively as the principal of a school here in Colorado now.
He believed in my strength, he believed in my character, he believed in what I had to offer, and he believed in what I was doing. He made me feel so important that I pushed, and I continue to push, not just for my own children, but for every child that I come in contact with.
Congressman Bob Schaffer serves as our chairman for the leadership program of the Rockies, and what makes him so spectacular really is that his leadership comes from such experience and a depth of knowledge of what it takes to get things done in politics, what it takes to get things done in education, and what it means truly to be a good parent and a person that's demonstrating and leading with integrity.
Bob Beaupre, the former congressman, called me. I guess he was congressman at the time. He was running for governor, and he said, would you consider serving on the State Board of Education? And I said, well, why? He said, but for my agenda, I have to have a State Board of Education that's willing to make bold reform. And I thought, well, that's a good reason. That right there makes a lot of sense.
Bob is very much of an individual. He's probably one of the most independent thinkers I have ever met and I've ever worked with. He is always a gentleman, no matter how much you disagree. And it is well known that Bob and I disagree much more than we agree.
I think it's impossible for me to fill Bob's shoes, but I will do my best to remember what Bob stood for when I'm faced with votes on the State Board of Education. I'm going to try and keep his principles in front of me, just as he did.
I hope the future for Bob, I hope, is full of success, joy, enrichment, and the sense that he would continue to give to Liberty and to give to students in Colorado in whatever form. I want him to continue doing what he does best.
I hope that he's able to continue to give back in ways that are exciting to him. I know that he still has a lot to give. I look for him to be a continuing thought leader in our state and in the nation.
We are going to miss you on the State Board of Education, and I'm excited to see what you're going to do next.
Thanks, Dad, for all you've done for this whole school and for all the students in it, and I'm really proud of you, and thanks.
Mr. Schaffer, I'd like to say congratulations on a long career well spent. I really appreciate what you've done for education in the state and for charter schools in particular, so thank you.
And Bob, thank you. You're an incredible leader, and we will miss you.
Thank you, Bob.
As much as I love serving on the State Board of Education, it's in reality, it's one other station on the battlefront of education reform. And so I won't be at that station anymore, but I'll just move to another and keep fighting the same fight.